Welcome to Woodshop 101, where everything is made up and the points don't matter. Now meet the yin and yang of woodworking and the lady that keeps them in line, Jeremy, Drew, and Sam.
Welcome to episode 47. Tonight, I'm going to talk about pocket holes versus wood movement and what are the essential tools to keep you when you have to temporarily move shop. So this is the second episode you're going to hear in our summer series. Drew, Sam, and I have decided to take a little bit of break to kind of give ourselves a summer vacation. But it's definitely nice to finally be back on the podcast, even if it is by myself. But we got a quick little show for you tonight. So let's get down to it and talk about the first topic. It's a question sent in by Mike. It says, I've been listening to the podcast for a couple months now, and I'm trying to get more into woodworking as a hobby, as opposed to just fixing things around the house as a handyman, as I've done in the past. One of the projects my wife is pushing for is a farmhouse-style dining room table, much like the one you have pictured for Lisa's table on your site. Now, trying to do my due diligence, I've been reading up on various opinions, and a lot of people speak rather poorly of pocket holes in general, and voice a lot of concerns about the Anna White and shabby too chic style designs for not accounting for wood movement. You guys on the show seem to have an excellent grasp on building these sorts of items, so my question is this: is wood movement and pocket holes really that big of a deal? If I build a design like this, will I just be in tears when my design tears itself apart in 6 months? The internet is full of opinions, but rarely from those who have actual experience. Sorry for the roundabout question. I'm just trying to get some encouragement before jumping in and buying materials. Thanks, Mike. Alright, Mike, listen. So, that farmhouse table that you actually saw on my site, in fact, there's, I think, about 3 different ones. But it's been a long time since I uploaded work onto my website, which I need to do. Yeah, I need to do. I need to put that on my to-do list. But most of that furniture you see is actual pocket hole furniture, meaning all of it's been done with pocket holes, including I think the 3 dining room tables are the 3 tables that you've seen on there. And those are all 4+ years old. I've not heard from one of the customers that the table has self-destroyed. And I actually still keep in touch with one of the customers quite frequently. I've done a bunch of work for. To this day, I still continue to do a bunch of work. So what am I saying? Am I saying that pocket hole joinery doesn't affect wood movement? No, but I'm not saying that it's a complete loss and will self-destruct either. I'm saying all you can do is really take your time, and I started with it, and you put in time and effort, and if it self-destroys in 6 months, then you live and you learn. It's kind of a hard answer to take, but that's what it is. Will I think it's going to destroy in 6 months? No. Mine's over 4 years old. At least 3 of those tables are, and they haven't self-destructed. They're still perfectly fine. The wood moves. You can clearly see the mood. In fact, I've been over at one of the clients' houses several times and have seen the movement in the table and seen the planks separate a little bit due to movement. And I've not at all seen any kind of cracking of the wood. When I do it now, I didn't load it down with pocket holes every 6 inches or whatever that you see on a lot of the designs online. I did place pocket holes about every 18 inches to create the tabletop, and then when I put the breadboard in, I only did 1, maybe 2 pocket holes per board, and that's really just to kind of give it the rigidity so that the breadboard in wouldn't fall off. If you're trying to get into it, I'm not sure pocket holes would necessarily be the way to go again. In fact, the dining room table that I'm building for my wife, and if you've been a fan of the show for any time, you'll know I've been building this table for 2 years now. The construction of it started with dowel joinery. I'm going to finish it with dominoes just because I now have a domino. But I would encourage you to maybe look at the dowel route. You could get a dowel jig and dowels for cheaper than you can do pocket holes. You for what you well maybe about the same if you go with the cheaper pocket hole jig. I think the R3, it's about $50. I'm not sure. But I use Jessup doweling jig. I think that was about $150. And it's an advanced doweling jig. You don't need quite that much. You can get the Rockler jig. They're about $12 or $13. And you just have to be careful on how you place them and make sure you line up. But if you go with pocket holes, I don't think you can go terribly wrong. I'm not going to tell you it's not going to self-destruct, but I definitely don't think it's going to self-destruct in the next 6 months, especially if you keep it in a climate-controlled area in your house. It may self-destruct in a couple of years. It may never self-destruct. I haven't heard of project self-destructing with pocket holes because of wood movement. Do your due diligence if you're going to. I let all that lumber sit in my shop for 2 or 3 weeks to acclimate in the shop. And then I built it, and it took me 3 or 4 days to get it built, and another 3 or 4 days to get the stain and the clear coat on it. So all I can tell you is give it a shot. But what you see on my website was done with pocket holes, and it hasn't self-destructed yet. I can only speak about what I've done. I don't think Sam has had any of her stuff self-destruct, and she uses a lot of pocket holes. She's a proponent of it. Sam, when you listen to this, leave a comment down below, either in YouTube or somewhere, and let Mike know if you've had any issues with pocket holes and wood movement. Drew, you do the same thing, because I know that you've used a lot of pocket holes in the past as well. So if that doesn't really answer your question, Mike, send in another email, and maybe we can try to get a different point of view on it from Drew or Sam. All right, so we got one last question here from Dave Borg. It says, if you had to close up shop for time, a couple months or so, what are the essential tools for your work that you would find a way to keep running? When we move, I will not have access to a shop space for a time, and I'm trying to decide how best to handle it and still be able to do some work. Dave, here's your answer. I can't tell you what you'll need. I can tell you what I've done or am doing, because I'm still in the middle of it. So for those of you that know, my shop has been closed for going right on a month. In fact, tomorrow. So when you're listening to this, yesterday, the 24th will be right at a month that my shop has officially been closed. And it doesn't look like I'm going to get it back anytime soon. It's probably going to be at least another month. Probably 2 months before I'm back up and running. I'm not even sure 2 months is it. But what I did, or what I planned to do, was pack up all my tools in a trailer, or at least the big, like the table saw, bandsaw, plane, or stuff like that, so I could continue production work on producing pieces. I wanted to build some things for my mom. I didn't get around to doing that. The way that I should have gone and the way that I would encourage you to go is use those few months to step back. I know you and your son are trying to get that business started, but to step back and use that time to learn. Figure out 1 or 2 things you want to learn. Do you want to learn how to work with hand tools? Do you want to learn how to turn? Do you want to learn how to carve? Or whatever it is you want to learn. I encourage that you take one of those things and to get some hand tools or get some carving tools or whatever it is, and use those few months to learn that new thing that you want. If you're trying to keep the essential tools to still do work for customers, you're going to find yourself a little more stressed than I think it's probably worth, at least at this point. Now, if we're taking on thousands of dollars worth of jobs, then maybe I would say deal with the stress and the heartache of trying to still produce for customers. And if there's not one simple thing that you want to learn, like hand tools or something that you can concentrate on for 2 months and perfect, or even a technique. I want to learn how to hand cut dovetails, so I'm going to get the stuff to do that and learn how to hand cut dovetails daily for 2 months till I'm proficient at it. If you don't want to do that, you still want to build projects, identify what project. You can't have a wide range. I want to build cutting boards. I want to spend 2 months and I want to just get as fancy, as different kind of cutting boards as I can do. Then you identify what tools you need. Okay, I'm going to need my table saw. I'm going to need a sander. I'm going to need some finishing supplies, maybe a planer. Those will be the tools that you set aside and take with you. Or maybe you want to learn how to just cut bandsaw boxes, or pick out a tool like the bandsaw and say, whatever it is I'm going to do, I'm going to learn how to do it on the bandsaw. And then maybe take yourself just a small, like maybe some card scrape or something like that for some finishing work. So you really need to identify what it is you want to do before you know what tools you want to take. Again, I would encourage you to go the method of learning. Figure out something new you want to learn, get those tools, and then learn that. Use that 2 months. I think you said you had 2 months or however long it is to learn something new. Because when you go back into it and you're trying to build this business, you're not going to want to take time off to learn something new. Especially something like hand tools or carving, because that's not something you'd incorporate into every project. And you're gonna focus on trying to get that business going. So I would really use this time for you and your son to learn something new. Did I do any of that? No. I ended up, once it was all said and done, I was packed. I just said, enough's enough. I need a vacation. In fact, I still have the trailer just out here in the parking lot of the hotel with all my woodworking stuff still in it. Well, 90% of it. I'll let the movers take some of the things they couldn't break. But I haven't touched it. Now I'm starting to have a desire to touch it. I'm getting that itch again now that I've had enough time off. I let a few projects go unfinished. I really want to finish that table. I'm at the point now that I'm ready to see it completed again. And I'm excited and I'm renewed about it. And then I had a huge ingrain cutting board that I was building, and I'm ready to get that finished. But I was at the point that I needed just to take some time off. I consumed a lot of YouTube content again to kind of help renew that passion. And I really am using this time to focus on building my Instagram audience and trying to get the website fixed and running better. So I decided to go the business route and focus on business stuff versus the actual woodworking. It doesn't sound like you're at that point yet, but really use it to learn something new and use the rest of the time to market your new business. Build your logo, build your website, start engaging the audience. Get yourself up on Facebook or Instagram. There's a lot of different ways you could go with this. So just think about what you want to do, then you can figure out what tools you need. So hope that answered your question, Dave. And if it didn't, hit me up on Instagram again, and I'll try to really talk to you more about it one-on-one. So I want to thank you guys again for hanging out with us. Next week you'll hear Sam's episode, and then I think we said August 8th we'll be back for a regular show. Again, we really appreciate you guys just understanding that we needed some time off. We're all still working. I'm going through a moving process. We're kind of burning ourselves out on everything. We had no time to get anything in, and so when we can start taking some summer vacations from things, we did, and we really appreciate you guys hanging out there with us. We'll be back soon enough. I really miss those guys. So until next time, Drew, take away the contact information.
If you guys want to get in contact with any of us individually, we each have websites. Sam is DIYhuntress.com, and my website is rhwoodshop.com, and Jeremy's is countrysideworkshop.com. Each of us have our own contact page there. You just fill it out, and it'll send us an email. We're pretty quick on responding. And if you do send us something in particular to one of our websites, still keep listening to the podcast, because we tend to take those questions and introduce them to the episodes that we have upcoming. So you might just hear it answered there. The Woodshop 101 podcast also has an email that you can send directly to, which is woodshop101podcast@gmail.com. And you can also leave us a voicemail at our really fancy voicemail phone number that can be called from any landline, cell number, or basically anything that makes a phone call. And the area code is 409-234-3959. There you can leave us a voicemail. We'll feature it on the air and answer your question. We really enjoy those voicemails, but we really enjoy the emails and questions that we get to, and those really help bring our podcast to a new level to answer any and all questions from you viewers. And we greatly appreciate all your feedback and your questions, and we hope to see you guys and hear from you guys on the next episode. So keep the questions coming, be safe in your shops, and from Jeremy, Sam, and myself, we want to wish you guys well, and 1, 2, 3, boom!